It is Tuesday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here, Patrick Reusse with me as usual. Too cold for school today, Patrick, but not too cold for a podcast.
No, you can always do those, yes. As long as you don't have to do them outside, you're fine.
I'm glad we're not doing it outside today. That would be a little uncomfortable.
I took the three steps to get the paper this morning and almost froze to death. So it is a little frosty, to say the least. So
Yes, it is. Speaking of frosty, we got a lot to get to. We got NFL playoffs, maybe some things we learned this weekend. We got the Wild, good win yesterday in Colorado, still without a lot of their best players. But Patrick, I think we're going to start with the Wolves. Man, it feels like, I might do this later today. I have this idea to write kind of like a Mad Libs style Timberwolves game story, because it feels like every one of their games that they lose is like the same. It's just like a little variation. Like, what are we mad about? It's like a little bit different every time. And this time we're mad that they didn't put Dillingham, that they didn't leave Dillingham in the game because he was red hot, right? Because he was great. They brought Conley back in. Things started to fall apart down the stretch. They lose by 2 to Memphis. Ant tries another kind of heroic 3, doesn't make that, and there you go.
And there was time to do work. There was time to get a little better shot, but you knew that Ant was going to throw something up, and you knew he was going to miss it. Just like you knew Jimmy Butler was going to miss it. Just like you knew Kevin Garnett was going to miss it. Just like one of my great displeasures with the NBA is this idea that your superstar always has to take the last shot so we clear it out. Now, they didn't clear it out yesterday, but you knew Ant was going to throw up a rock from 26 feet and lose the game. That's what he does. So I'm now wondering, are they going to make the play-in tournament? I don't know. I don't know. They got a chance to finish 11th.
Oh, yeah.
Sacramento's playing a little better. Some of the other teams are playing a little better. Now, the Dallas is really struggling because they got injured guys.
Players, yeah.
They don't. Kyrie's back, but they got their injured players. But it just doesn't work. What they got just doesn't work. And now you got your best shooter's not going to play for what? He's got a bad toe, and they're talking about a month or something. He might not play a month, 6 weeks. DiVincenzo. So. Their biggest problem to me is they can't shoot, and now their best shooter's not playing. So what do we got going on here? It's Rudy Gobert's lost. He's terrible, and McDaniels couldn't beat me in a game of horse, and it's not working. It's not what they've slapped together here is not working. So they're 500. One game over now, maybe.
One game over, 22 and 21. Yeah.
And that's what they are. And they play Memphis. They play pretty good. They had a chance to beat Memphis on the road. Memphis is playing good, but I didn't watch all of it. I was watching the college football playoff, and
sure.
But when I saw the final score, I said, that worked out like they thought they would. They had a nice little lead. Looked like they might win for a while. But at the end, they're going to figure out a way to lose. And Finchie's getting himself some trouble now. You're missing your best shooter. Why doesn't Minot get 8 minutes?
He didn't play at
10
all.
Minutes. Didn't play at all. Zero minutes.
Luka got
3
minutes.
minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah.
3 minutes, 3 fouls. But Lucas, they gotta have a little come to Jesus meeting here, and the boss got to tell him to start playing some of these guys because it's not working, and he almost should start looking at let's start developing a little bit here.
Yeah.
Instead of you're not. You look at this team, you're not going anywhere. If you get in the play-in, you might squeeze in and get beaten 5 games in the first round of the playoffs or something. But you're not going anywhere with this collection, okay? So start developing some of your club here. Let's. You got all these young guys. I'd like to see Shannon up here too. You're looking for somebody who can score. He can score. You know.
Hasn't he been hurt a little bit? I thought he was
Yeah,
hurt.
I guess he was, but they haven't. Even when he was
Yes,
here, he sat.
correct.
Then they set him to Iowa, and he scored 37 or 8 one night. But,
Right.
I don't know. It's the crowds have still been good. The fans,
I'm surprised.
Fans really want him to. The fans really want him to do good. They get disgusted with him, but they're easy to get disgusted with, and Anthony Edwards, who a year ago was going to be the face of the NBA and was going to be the star of the Paris Olympics and all that stuff, he is not nearly as good as he was last year. I don't care.
No, agreed.
I don't care what the average says. He's not nearly as good. He's playing stupid basketball, and it's a bad operation right now.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things we've learned this season is that at least in this moment, Ant isn't ready to be the solo one. When he had Cat here, he had a pressure valve where Cat was there was a clear pecking order, but he had somebody else there that was going to take some of that off of him. Julius Randle isn't doing that to nearly the same degree, and then nobody else is. I mean, when you're back now to the starting lineup with Conley, Gobert, and McDaniels because Dante DiVincenzo is hurt, that's like 3 offensive liabilities. I mean, and Randall is terrible on offense yesterday too. He was he had 5 points, 2 of 13 shooting.
I think when I looked at the box score in the early in the fourth, he was 1 for 10.
Yeah, finished 2 for 13. 2 for 13. Gobert had 4 points and 4 rebounds in 25 minutes. Made a horrendous pass late in the game where he anything over 16 inches is too far for him to shoot. So he looks at it and he decides to try to pass to who's either Reed or somebody down low, and it gets picked for a turnover. Key play in the game. It's like instead of taking a 4-foot shot, which he knows he's going to miss, he tries to make a pass. It's bad. I think that Gobert, I don't know if Gobert is in a decline or if he's just in a little funk. We know Conley's in a decline. I mean, they had Dillingham had 15 points in 17 minutes. He was a plus 16. And yeah, I think Finchie got asked after the game, why didn't you keep going with him? And he just basically said he wanted Conley back in for defense and to steady the game. And I get it. Like Dillingham is still a pretty big defensive liability. So, and I think he's always going to be that. So what do you do? What do you do at this point? I play him more. I think it's probably the thing.
They'd fallen behind by 1 when they took Dillingham out or something like that. I don't know what I didn't watch much of it, but you just got to change the mindset from we're gonna, if we can only make the playoffs, we're gonna be back in the finals of the Western Conference again. You're not, okay?
Right.
Start developing something. Start thinking of what's this club gonna look like next year? Because nothing's gonna happen in the postseason. You might not even be in it. So, I think it's just idiotic to keep playing the way they are. I think it's been idiotic all season not to develop any of these young guys. I thought, you brought back Garza. You made a big deal about bringing back him. Rudy can't do anything offensively. Let him play 10, 12 minutes. See if he can score some points. He can shoot. He's 7 foot tall, for God's sakes. It's, I don't know. I'm not an anti-Finchie guy, but I'm not impressed with what's going on with him this year. So
it was 4:29 left in the game. Dillingham had come in a couple of minutes earlier, and his better run had been earlier in the game, but he'd come in for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And so 4:29, he comes back out for Conley. At that point, it's Wolves up 100-95. So they're up 5 when they took him out with 4:29 left. And then they score? If they had 100 at that point, they scored 6 points in the last 4:29 with Conley back in the game.
Well, and by the way, what happened to Naw? He was their best player for 6 weeks. He can't make a shot either.
He was shooting beyond his means for a while, wasn't he? I mean, that's the part of me.
He's he's getting 15, 16 minutes and scoring 3 days lately. So
Yeah.
he was he was probably he was a pleasant find, but when you started giving him a lot more responsibility,
Yes.
he handled it for a while, but he's not
Yes.
handling it now, and he's another non-shooter. So I don't know. It's
The roster construction is a mess right now. It's just there's not enough shooters. There's imbalance all over the place. I still wonder if something else is going to happen before the deadline, but it's not like this is like this team is not like one move away from unlocking everything, right? It's not like you can just make one trade and everything is fixed.
Well, correct me here. So Julius had a contract for this year. Not Julius, Gobert for this year, and we gave him 3 more, right?
Correct.
3 more. So he's got,
yes.
Whew, boy, by the time that's end, he might not even be able to get up off his chair. He has been awful this year. And, 2 years ago, he was trying to fit and blah, 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 and we had our complaints about him, but he never was as bad as he's been this year. He's been terrible. And, he looks lost having Randall out there, and it's a mess. It's a mess, and I would think if you trade Randall, though, you're gonna have to give something else away, right? Maybe you can trade Randall and give some team Shannon or somebody like that, or one Minot or somebody you're not playing anyway. But to make it give them some good young player to go with Randall to get rid of him. But it's bad right now, and they're just not fun. They're not fun to watch.
They are not fun.
It's hard to believe you got Anthony Edwards on your team and you're not fun to watch. They aren't fun to watch.
No, it is a joyless season, and it stands in such contrast to last year, of course, right?
Yes.
Like last year was fun. They were fun. They were completely fun last year. And so I think if you kind of remove the championship or bust kind of mentality away from sports that pervades sports so much, people will flock to fun. They want the team. They want to go to the game and be entertained, watch on TV, feel like the energy is good. Energy hasn't really been good at most points in this season, and it's just such a shame from where they were.
That is something Dillingham adds, because he runs around like a maniac, and there's with the defense out, there's no reason not to play him 20 minutes a night now. So and maybe they're going to start. I don't know.
Maybe they will.
What are they next? Do they have a home game before? Oh, they're in Dallas.
Dallas, right?
Dallas tomorrow. Then they come home. They got a Saturday afternoon matinee against Denver, right?
I think so.
At 2:00 Saturday, I think I'm going to go to that game. So we'll see. Denver is a lot of the powers from last year are scuffling here this year, Denver, and it's a weird West right now. But the Timberwolves are not a factor. They are a non-factor.
No.
As you say.
Well, and there's only like 2 bad teams in the West too. Like every game, you're like, it's you could lose. There's not a lot of terrible teams.
Even the New Orleans has won like 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6. You know why? Because they got that big load not playing.
Zion. Yeah.
Get rid of that bum. what a bum he is. Just a fat, out of shape, plays once a month. What a load he is. NBA, I love the NBA, but they drive me crazy. These guys who play when they want to, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Well, the Wolves are maybe coming into a better stretch of schedule here. Just looking at it, after the Mavericks and Nuggets, it's the Hawks, Suns, Jazz, Wizards, Kings, and Bulls, and Portland. So like, if you're ever going to do something, it's got to be pretty soon, because
Hawks will come in and beat him.
Who?
The Hawks will come in and
they could.
Trae Young will get 42. And
they should let Dillingham play. They should let Dillingham play all the Trae Young minutes. Let's just see which little guard can score the most in that game.
Yeah, crazier. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing though. I mean, they had the fans won over, and they were sold all those tickets. This year gets over, they're gonna be back hustling again if this turns into the flop that it looks like it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So, and I hear that there's a new dispute between A-Rod and Laurie and Taylor. None of them want the team.
They're like, you take it. No, you take it. I don't want it. You take it.
Nobody wants this collection.
The mediation is now
falling apart old arena with a bad team. Who wants that, for goodness sakes?
Arbitration is now about who has to take them, not who gets to take them.
Yes, that's right. Unreal. Meanwhile, our Fighting Wild, who don't have half their team, go out and beat the Avs on the road 3-1. So I saw the last game I went to, they played the Avs and it was 7-1 or something.
Yeah, they got creamed in that game.
They play better on the road than they do at home.
Yes,
they do. But it's, you know what? It's the whole vibe of pro sports now. I keep saying this. These guys start playing in these showcase tournaments when they're 12 in all sports, and the road does not bother players like it used to. It's not. Well, it's incredible. Yeah.
And travel's a little bit easier than it used to be too. They don't have to. You're not flying commercial or riding a train like you did back in the day. Like it's they got all the sleep. They got all the sleep science, so they know when to go. They got luxury catered meals. Like sometimes it's probably better to be on the road.
Oh God, yeah. And I mean, even if it's if it's 5 hours of the 4 hours of the West Coast, so what? You lay back in your seat and sleep. But I was telling a uke story to somebody, a Bob Uecker story.
Oh, sure.
And because I was buddies with Mike Gonring, who covered the Brewers for years, and then he went back to law school and ended up being a very well-respected lawyer instead of a disrespected sports writer like the rest of us. And but I get into Toronto back when you're flying commercial, most of the time. Now, we'd flown a charter in. This is in the late 70s, and I'd had my usual 10 or 12 Tanquerays on the plane.
This was a while ago, then.
This is 78 or so.
Okay.
I get in the room, and when I check in, there's a note that says, "Come on up to such and such a room. The Brewers crew is still there because they're staying overnight and flying out the next day."
Geez.
So I got to go up to Uke Suite and see some bad behavior with a bunch of 3 or 4 other guys up there. So I mean, that's the way it was back then. Though you flew, you'd be in Kansas City, and they'd stay overnight and fly back home Friday morning or something like that. Now it's boom, get to the airport. Let's go.
Get to the airport, get your rest and recovery. We don't want to stay overnight. We're going to, it's amazing.
And then we finally started flying a lot of charters for the WNBA this year too, right? Not all of them, but a lot of them. Which is, I mean, to me, if I was a pro athlete, that would be the number one perk. I've always said, if I had immense wealth, the first thing I'd do is have my own airplane.
Sure.
And not if you could go out the signature and get in your plane and fly out of here, that'd be the way to fly, right? So Anyway, that's what you're right. I mean, the biggest change in sports now, it's 25 years ago now, is the fact that they don't have to fly with the riffraff anymore.
No,
and the thing used to be, Mike, they got the thing so 2 guys got to have 3 seats, right?
Okay.
So if you weren't in first class, they buy out the first class, and then 2 guys that have 3 seats. Well, they'd have people trying to get on these planes, and all of a sudden they'd start some idiot at the counter out there would start letting people in for the middle seats. Because they had an overflowing flights, and they'd come on, and the guy filling up the thing, he says, "We are permitted under blah 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 to do."
I didn't know that.
players would all be screaming at him because then some poor SOB'd have to sit down between two players who hated him because he came in the middle seat. It was not a flying with the public was not a good way to go back then.
No.
And but anyway. That
said, the Wild.
The Wild on the road have been very good. Last night they go out and beat them 3-1, and what the heck, they're hanging in there. They really gave themselves a cushion because even when they had like a 3-game losing streak or something, gone 4 games without a win, you look in the standings and they're still like third in the West. So
right,
so third in the Central, which is basically third in the West. So.
The big ones they're missing they still got no Kaprizov, no Brodin, and no Spurgeon, right?
What's Kaprizov? He got a groin injury, but what are they? He skated. They keep saying he skated, then he never plays. So they must.
I don't know.
They must be terrified that he'll re-yank it or something. I don't know.
It's lower body. That's all we know. Lower body.
It's the groin. It's the groin.
Yeah. What if something's exactly in the middle of the body? Would they ever classify it as a mid-body injury?
I don't know.
It's always upper or lower.
Upper body, lower body. It was funny. I was writing a story about a college basketball player, and they injured out for the season. They never tell you every story you see never tells you what the injury is. It's like. They're afraid they're going to get sued if they tell you what the injury is or something. I don't know what is going on. Upper body, the upper body, lower body used to just be for the playoffs. But 20 years ago, it would. Okay. The rest of the time, they tell you what the injury.
That's right, because they were worried that someone was going to try to re-injure you if you played through, right?
In the playoffs, they wouldn't tell you because 03, I remember Jock and me, because they wouldn't tell you who the goalie was going to be that night because they had 2 goalies, remember, during the playoffs?
Oh, yeah. We always used to have 2 goalies. Manny Fernandez and Dwayne Rollison back in the day.
I said, Jock, what's the deal here? Give us some information, will you? We're all traveling around, flying around. And he says, information? I give you too much information. He was the greatest, man.
He was great. He was great. He could coach a little bit. And the goalie was good yesterday, Fleury. That was good.
He's had some good.
Vintage.
Boy, I tell you, you watched him early in the year and said he's not going to make it to the. They're going to try to get him those wins, and then now you're thinking he'll be back next year if he wants to be.
We got to write all the same stories a third time.
Right.
Come on.
I mean, well. I don't know. The Wallstead hasn't been good, right?
No.
Not even in Des Moines. And I don't know if they got another goalie around. And he could say this is last year only because he thought it was, but he looked like a guy who'd love to play till he's 45. So what is he? Has he turned 40 yet, or is he just?
I don't think he's quite that old. I don't think he's quite that old, but he's something else. I don't. Obviously. I don't know him all that well, but everything you see about him seems like he's just one of the best guys, right? Like just.
Oh yeah, he's supposed to be fantastic. I've only been around a couple of times in a practice or something, and afterwards, but he's holding court over there. The reporters love him, so he's he's just a good guy. So it's and he's played really well lately. So,
and I was wrong. He turned 40 in late November. He's 40 now. So
wow. It's what have they played? Until Gustafson missed a few games, he was playing. He was playing 1 out of 3 basically.
Yeah, Gustafson's been pretty good this year, so that was it made sense.
The life of the goalie, Mike. 2 years ago he was great. Last year is terrible, and they're going to try to
trade him.
But they're going to try to trade him. Now he's the man. So anyway, they're having a good year.
They're hanging in there. Faber had a goal yesterday. He's the key to the. At least they got him back. He missed a couple games in there, but he got back a lot quicker than some of the rest of these kids.
He got in on beating up the guy from Nashville, though, too, right? He
Right.
jumped the guy too. They beat him up twice. That was some good old fashioned hockey. We're gonna lose the game, but we're gonna get our revenge. Dang it! So
Yep.
kind of reminded me of the good old days where the fight was more important than the game.
Yeah, and that was revenge for, was it
the slew foot?
That's right.
Whatever.
That's right. Yep.
The slew foot of Spurgeon, right?
Spurgeon. That's right. Yep.
Spurgeon hasn't played since, right?
No, I don't think he has.
I don't think I
right.
understand the dynamics of the slew foot. Do you? It's like I put my leg behind him and then kind of bend him backwards. Is that the slew foot or something?
Yeah. It's a very hockey term. It's like the most hockey.
Oh yes, it is.
The most inside hockey you can
do. And it's like it's like saying it's the mass murder of hockey. There's nothing worse you can do to somebody.
But
he slew-footed him. Let's kill him.
But a hockey person will say that, and they'll expect everybody to know exactly what it is. It's just the worst thing you can do.
Well,
it was a slew foot. What else are we supposed to do?
The refs announced that as the penalty. It's not tripping or anything. Right. 5 minutes slew footing, huh?
Yeah. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is funny.
Probably originated somewhere in Montreal in 1932 or something, and now it's just the parlance of all of hockey. But yeah, they're playing well without a lot of their guys. It's been pretty impressive.
Watch your dreams and savings grow with Royal Credit Union's 4.25% annual percentage yield 12-month certificate. Open now at any Royal office or online at rcu.org/certificate saver. Early withdrawal penalties could reduce earnings and principal. APY accurate as of 2/1/25. Insured by NCUA.
How much NFL playoffs did you watch over the weekend, Pat?
Dang near every play. I saw a lot of it. I saw most of it. I think
poor Lions.
I think the best team in the NFL got beat, Baltimore, and but Buffalo I'm kind of rooting for Buffalo, and I'd like to see them go win a Super Bowl, and then we could have the distinction ourselves of being the only ones to go 4 times and lose them all. So. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big Josh Allen fan, and I like the way when you're up there in Buffalo, what you got to play through, but you can be there in the middle of October, and it can be a driving lakefront snowstorm, and the fans are like the lowest rent fans in the world, and all they care about is the Bills. There's transplanted Buffalo people all over the country. There's Bill bars, all the Bills bars all over the country.
At least there used to be one here. I don't know if it still exists, but.
So I was kind of rooting for him, but I felt sorry for Lamar Jackson because now he's got to take the fault, even though what was that tight end doing? Just put the ball away. Looked like he was trying to set his feet. You don't have to set your feet. You're going to land on your butt. Who cares?
Yeah.
That was brutal. But and the other thing is the same guy had the ball punched out when they were going to go down and score a touchdown and get ahead of them because they had the game going their way then. But they did. I thought they were the best team. They were the team certain to beat Kansas City. I still like Buffalo beat them, but boy, the refs, America has never been as bad at the pro Chiefs refs as they are right now, though. Man, alive. People are irate. The NFL's funny though, Mike. The guy, the first roughing, the helmet hits him in the shoulder and pops up. I don't know. You can maybe call that one. But the other one, when he comes in, he doesn't really slide. He dives to the ground, and then the 2 guys are coming in. What are they supposed to do?
Right.
They're already moving to tackle him when he goes down.
Right.
And then Mahomes looks like a complete jerk when he does the fall down on the sideline there. So he went from America's leading football hero and now he's a villain, Pat.
Yeah.
So
you win too much. You become a villain, and you start,
And then you start acting like that too. So anyway, it's that'll be I'd like to see the Bills go in there and win, but boy, I hope the Chiefs don't win on a controversial call.
Oh, jeez, I know.
People are going nuts. People, I mean, that was bad. Did you read the explanation of the old guy that they always bring out on Mondays to defend the referees, the NFL, for one of the shows? This is what he said.
Okay.
The guidance to officials is, when in doubt, don't call a penalty. If you don't see it, don't call the penalty unless it's roughing and passer. When in doubt, call the penalty, and then it's not reviewable either.
No,
it's not reviewable. So that's
a big one. 15 yards. 15 yards automatic first down.
Why would the idea be? When in doubt, call it. I don't get it. I don't get it. But it is funny how they have such a hard time admitting that their officials screwed up, and that's only the NBA gives us the final 2-minute warning saying, there were 12 screw-ups in the last 2 minutes there.
Right.
This should have been
all the things we got wrong.
All the things we got wrong. They're the only league that, since the NBA did that. If the NFL did that.
Oh, geez.
They have to defend. We got to get rid of this stupid kickoff, though. God, I hate it.
That's terrible. That's not good.
The worst part of it is that I have to tell them if I'm going to onside kick or not.
Yes. No more surprise onside kick.
And they can run 11. What? Why?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't make any sense. They got it. It was just an experiment, right? They can go back to the other way,
hopefully.
Right? It's one of those things
Mike, you're dragging guys off the field the whole game, right?
Yeah.
From collisions all over look like the gladiators in both Buffalo and Philadelphia. But we're worried about the 2 extra concussions a year you're going to get on kickoff, so you ruin it completely. It's
it's ridiculous.
It is preposterous, to say the least. It looks, as I think I said this last week, when somebody told me, looks like a Saturday Night Live skit when they line up for that kickoff. I know. How come you're not running? Oh, okay. How come you're not running down there to tackle? Oh, I can't run yet. Okay.
It's the new rule. I got to wait till they touch it or it lands in the landing zone.
What I like is, even after they all take like this jog after the are they told to jog down there like you're going to do something, even though the kick's in the back of the end zone? They all do the jog. It's
get your exercise, guys. Get your. You might only play 7 snaps this game. You might as well get your cardio in if you're gonna. Nothing else is gonna happen. Imagine if you're only on the kickoff team and your only job is on the kickoff team, and you're out there for 8 plays and they're all touchbacks.
I said, I did say this on Twitter yesterday, though. I mean, there's a lot of things about the Sunday I hate about the NFL, but man, these are not normal human beings out there pounding the hell out of each other and dragging themselves back onto the field. The one guy, Jalen Hurts, 2 legs going different directions, and he's back out there 2 plays later. And, I mean, they are not normal people, and they say, well, they're making a lot of money. Well, when you go back out there after dang near getting killed, you're not thinking about how much I'm going to go right back out there because I make a lot of money. You're going out there because you're a warrior. That's why. Yep.
Do we feel?
That's why it's so popular.
Do we feel a little bit worse about scoring 9 against the Lions now that Washington has scored 45 and eliminated them, humbled them with a rookie quarterback?
And what, the 4 games before we got 9, they were giving up 9. 35, 42. I mean, it was, yes, we do. That was my immediate reaction. How do they score 9 against these guys? They're terrible. I don't know. Daniels looked great, man.
He did.
I liked him, but I thought he was kind of an inaccurate short passer. But man, he looked good.
Yeah,
he looked good. Now, who wins that game? Washington. I bet it'll be. I bet Washington will give the Eagles a good game.
I think they will.
The Eagles are not good offensively, I don't think. But
no. Well, if the road teams win, we got a chance of a repeat of the Metrodome Super Bowl, right? It'll be Washington and Buffalo.
Yeah, if the road teams win. But I was talking to somebody, though, if the Super Bowl's in New Orleans, if you can get the Bills and the Eagles fans down there, God bless America,
Right.
Unbelievable. That would be fantastic to get those. And it would kind of bring back New Orleans from the tragedy, because you have, you come down there and try to mess with those people, they're gonna take care of you, man. Those fans from those two places will wipe out every nickel they've ever had in their life to get down there and to be drunk on Bourbon Street. It'll be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, when the Super Bowl was here, when the Eagles were here, I don't think there was any alcohol left after they left. It was all gone. Fly some in special from other places.
My favorite story of that is 40 years ago. I was back in the Rose Bowl for the first time since the 50s, right? 81 or 2 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And there's an incredible number of Iowans out in California. They all went out there in the Dust Bowl, but they're still Hawkeye fans. Long Beach is like Iowa, and they have at the Century City place where they have the used to give the Academy Awards out, that big building there. They had an all Iowa picnic or something, like 2 nights before the game, they called it. And there was they were expecting 3,000 people, and 10,000 people showed up, and the line to get to the liquor counters was like 500 deep. There was a liquor store there. There was a liquor store in the building, and you peeked in there like a half hour before the picnic started, and the only thing left in there was like 2 bottles of slow gin or something. The whole thing was sold out.
Oh my gosh!
Everything that had liquor in it, they
oh my gosh!
It was a wonderful. It was, they were having a good old time out there with. I think they hadn't been there since 58 or something, and Hayden took them in 81 or 2, something like that. So anyway. Alcohol and football go well together. There's no doubt.
Yes, they do. They mix. Maybe sticking with college football. Maybe we finish here. Ohio State gets it done. I don't know if the fans are still upset that they didn't beat Michigan.
Right.
But
Notre Dame made a nice comeback when it got to be 28-7. I thought, oh man, this is gonna be bad. But Day was smart enough. Instead of just running out the clock, he kicked that last field goal, so they covered.
They did cover,
was 9.5. Otherwise, if he don't score that touchdown, if he doesn't kick that field goal, if he just lets gives them the ball down there with 10 seconds to go, instead, they don't cover, and then the Ohio State fans are still mad at him, probably.
Right,
so,
right.
But man, that receiver is a monster. 6'4", 225, and he can run. He's Is he going to be the guy that takes the NFL to court here and says that
the 3-year eligibility rule?
3-year. They're going to have to win that eventually, aren't they? Although with the new conservative courts coming in, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, and it's probably less. It's less of a thing now too. Probably.
Oh yeah, NIL. Yeah.
These guys, a good a top player can make just as much money in college football than they can on a rookie scale contract in the NFL.
This guy will have to pay him $3 million next year to keep him, something like that. $3 million, something like that. Yeah, it is. It's incredible.
It's not a financial hardship to stay in college football anymore.
No, and they. Did you see the Wisconsin deal that the kid?
Yeah.
The kid had like 6 tackles, but I think just to defend,
trying to prove a point,
the contracts, they're going to prevent him. I agree with them. If the guy signed the 2-year agreement, there should be some obligation to follow it. You can't just get up and leave. But who knows? Everything the athletes have gone to court, they win. So
yes,
maybe they get a federal judge just says and then. But you got to have some kind of. You can't give these people this money and then have them just say, "Well, I don't like it. I'm going to go someplace else." It's incredible.
No,
What do you think of long term? What's that done? What is college football going to be more popular, or is it going to be dead?
I mean, it seems like it concentrates. It's already starting to happen, but like, you used to have the traditional powers. It just seems like it concentrates the best players in even more limited places, and it's going to be harder to, you get a good player, you might leave in a year as opposed to staying at your school for 4 years. I think it's just harder to program build for a mid-tier team. I think it's going to turn off a lot of the fans who are, who root for programs kind of like Minnesota. I think it's really going to hollow the middle out more than anything.
Now, supposedly Parrish has said he's coming back, but I don't know if he signed anything, has he?
I don't know. Yeah,
please
I don't know
send us money because we want to play Coy.
Right.
We want to pay Coy Parrish. There's some kind of a thing going on. So I don't know. But I don't know what. I think the Gophers are. Hey, Mike, by the way, you saw that the preliminary court said that Title IX applies to 21 million. So instead of giving 80% to football, you got to split it up 50-50.
Yep.
Now, with the Trump administration coming in, that's going to be appealed. And if they get it to the right judge, he'll probably lose. But that would what's that do to the settlement if you got if it's 21 million and you got to settle? By the way, did you see Indiana laid off 25 athletic department employees? So that's going to happen over here too, I would imagine, as you're trying to come up with the 21 million and the basketball losing money instead of making money has got to be. That's got to be. I don't know. It's crazy. But the hypocrisy of college athletics, we don't have to hear about academic things and anything. No. We still say student athletes, though.
Yes.
We'll have the student athletes here. Okay.
We should start hyphenating it athlete students and just see what happens. See what they think about that. Yeah. It's like, hey, we still put student in there. We're just putting the athlete part first. Let's be realistic.
I wonder if they even bother to go to the tutoring anymore. I mean, if you flunk out, can you take them to court? I
don't know.
Because you're losing your money. Can you? If let's say a guy hasn't showed up for a class the whole fall quarter and they decide to flunk him out.
Right.
Can he sue because he's not making his money? I don't know. It's unbelievable.
I don't know where this is going to be in 10 years, but I don't think I'm going to like it.
10? I'm not. Yeah. I don't know where it's going to be in 2, for goodness sakes. So anyway.
All right.
Ohio State wins, and I can't believe Ryan Day was really in trouble for losing to Michigan, but wowza.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, he's better now. I think they're better now.
Yes, they're fine, and they. But Chip had a great piece about. I didn't realize Laurinaitis and Marcus Freeman were big buddies. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a good read. All right, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Okay, Mike. See you.